Hello, good evening, and welcome, my friends. Welcome one, welcome all. I hope you had a blessed day. Hope everybody's in fine fetlock and ready to receive the word of Fiona. Lady P is in the back digging into the Bollinger. Very much needed tonight. I think she's actually hitting the whiskey tonight too. Might be quaffing some whiskeys and cigars by a nice fire with a big red leather chair. I remember it well. Anyway, quick word from our sponsor. No, I did it twice. I did it twice intentionally. As we wait for the room to fill up, Darby Gillick joins us over on Facebook. Welcome, my friend. Great to see you. We are slumming it tonight, so hopefully we're on Twitch, where Marie just joins us presently. Great to see you. Welcome, Marie. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Hope you're well. A slightly relaxed tone for this evening's information. We do have some vital opinion piece. We do have information to bring to you, and Fiona will go through it, and we'll go through it together, ladies and gentlemen. We will have an initial reaction, as Fiona has informed me, and we will sound no picture. That's probably your end, Adrian. Can I get a 5x5 from those of you joining us? We've got Ping RL from Twitch. Much welcome on Twitch. Thank you very much, Ping. We've got some new faces joining us. Just waiting for a 5x5. I never did the sound check with you. How are we coming through? Jean, so very much delighted to see you. Welcome. We might even open the floor up this evening after we get through the start of the article. Paula is saying sound, no picture. Okay, I don't understand. Oh, if that's the case, and just for sheer piggery, let me drop it here. And then let me see if a refresh is needed and see if we are coming through. People saying that we don't have a picture. We don't have a picture at all. Let me drop, let's bring Fiona into the flow. Fiona, you're live. Welcome. Jean says she has picture.
Hello, new live chat from Facebook. And what's the other app?
We are on Twitch, DLive, Periscope, and Facebook. We have a new audience and loads of new attendees, loads of new faces. Viking girl. You can see the names over there on your comment section as well. Don't forget. You can see Jean says hello, 5x5 from Jean. But
hi, Ping, Jean. How are you?
Complete boomer moment going on here for those of you joining on Twitch.
Jean's my bestie.
No, because on Twitch and DLive, it's very much a gamer platform now. So you can have the Zoomers over there and they'll be looking, what the heck are these lot doing over here? This is our place. Out with you now, Twitch and DLive. Well, we have some important information to bring to your attention too, young folk. Young'uns, sit down, sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea or coffee as we get stuck into this. You're going to want to understand this. Again, take it with the what shall we say, Fiona? The way it's given. Take it with a pinch of salt, as you will. I want you to dwell on it, and not a pinch of salt to dismiss it, but to consider it. Take it with a moment of consideration, as we said. Okay. That's fantastic. Lovely to see Mary Donoghue joining us. Brenda joining us up from lockdown Donegal. Great to see you, Brenda, here. I have to bring up the link. So let me share the screen first. Actually, Fiona, if you don't mind, so we don't forget our good friends, the Little Pharma.
Oh.
How could we forget them?
Of course not.
Friends. The littlepharma.ie. We love our enzymes so much. We keep them alive. Wheatgrass and barley grass juice full of antioxidants. Small wonder they're so good. 1 wheatgrass shot is equivalent to 1 kilogram of your leafy green veg, and barley grass juice is full of antioxidants. Don't forget to enter in the promo code GT for your substantial discount. For those of you viewing on the Twitch and the DLive, it works for guaranteed Irish product. Support the Patriots, support the Nationalists, and help this very. And I mean, I use it every day myself. Obviously, they do help me out there with that. But I very well recommend it myself. Okay, Fiona, let me bring the. Let me get the share screen up, and we will pop that article.
So, guys, I know I shouldn't say that, but I'm a little bit. I need to sort of calm myself down, to be honest, because our good friend Dave Cullen just called me. and drew my attention to this article. So this is really, I've just glanced through it very quickly, and I've discussed it with Rowan here, and we both agree that we will make it public. You know, it's out there anyway in the public domain. We'll discuss it. We'll make you aware of it. It hasn't been fact checked. I just want to caveat that. So we're not stating that this is true by any manner or means, but we feel that it's incumbent upon us to share this with you so that you can make your own decisions, and maybe over time we can authenticate this information. But it is crucially important that we share it now. And I hope everyone is sitting comfortably, hopefully maybe with a little drinky tonight. I have coffee, unfortunately. It's tonight of all nights. I would have needed that stiff whiskey to keep going, but I'll have to wait until afterwards. So Rowan, I'm ready if you are.
With my apologies, Fiona, I'm having to work on...
As long as you haven't fallen asleep on me, have I bored you already?
Not at all. No, could you? I'm having to work on the fly here. I'm working on 2 systems at the moment.
All right. Well, do you want me? Will I just get started in reading the darn thing to them then?
Yeah, you start, and I will have it here in 1 second flat, because I am.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is an article on cairnsnews.org, and it's titled "A Canadian Politician Leaks New COVID Lockdown Plan and Great Reset Dictatorship, and Australia is part of it." Now, I was WhatsApped information on this in the middle of the week, and to be honest, I couldn't even get my head to it. Even seeing the summary was a little bit too distressing. But here is the article, and let me start. It's by the editor, and it says, "Power-mad state premiers, governors and prime ministers across Australia, the US, the UK, Canada and New Zealand may try to push another Dan Andrews-style second wave virus attack as part of the Gates-Rockefeller World Economic Forum push for global vaccination and the Agenda 21 New Normal New Economy." No news there. I think we're all well aware of that agenda. Canadian politicians in the loop of COVID planning have been told to their horror of a plan for a totalitarian response to an international economic collapse. Now, we know a collapse is very, very likely. We've discussed this. The timing of which we're not sure, but we expect it to be imminent, certainly within the next 12 months. And this economic collapse response involves a federal government offer to eliminate all personal debts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, etc., funded by the IMF, which is, an institution of globalist control, under what will be called the World Debt Reset Program. Now, I hear you think, Nessera, Gessera, we're all going to be saved from our debts. Hold on just a minute. In exchange for this debt forgiveness, the individual would forfeit ownership of any and all property and assets forever, and partake in the COVID-19 and COVID-21, because there will be a new virus released according to this vaccination schedule, which would allegedly allow individuals unrestricted travel and living, even under a full lockdown, through the use of a photo ID referred to as Canada's Health Pass. And we've all seen, similar health passports being advertised, especially here in Ireland. Now, they say it would allegedly allow individuals unrestricted travel and living, but the truth of the matter is that travel would be very much restricted to us in any case, even in a vaccinated state and fully compliant with this new system. Okay, the horrific scenario comes from a Liberal Party of Canada whistleblower from the party's Strategic Planning Committee, which is under the control of Canada's Office of the Prime Minister. He says the second wave will be hyped up with testing around the end of November. And that's where we are right now. And I think we can agree, or at least that's how many of us are understanding what's going on at the moment. The whistleblower warns of a complete and total secondary lockdown, much stricter than the first, and second rolling phased restrictions, which is expected to run to the end of December 2020 and early January 2021. That to me sounds highly plausible and very likely, given even my understanding, and I'm sure yours, of where we're going with NEFIT and the recommendations here for the Irish government. While pressure is mounting in Australia through the courts, at protests and from some media for lockdowns to end, the deadly virus is stalking you narrative is being held firmly by Labour, Green Coalition and LNP parties, the public health bureaucracy and most media in the same Five Eyes nations. So they're all in lockstep on that narrative. The narrative presents the SARS-CoV-2 virus, or COVID-19, as something that must be avoided and contained at all cost, despite the widespread immunity and medical studies showing it is lethal for less than 1% or 0.06 of those who are infected. And that is not to dismiss or to downplay the nastiness of the severity of the virus for those who have been impacted by it. And I have to sort of, stand by that. We're not belittling it in any shape or form. And we're not dismissing those fatalities related to us. None of us would do that. The Canadian whistleblower's email has been published by Canadian alt media site The Canadian Report. The deliberate leak of the information is remarkable because it is the equivalent of senior coalition partners doing the same. Canada's Liberal Party and Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, actually that should be Justin, is the equivalent of Greens Labour and a large segment of Green Left Feminist Liberal Party MPs. The PM is Justin Trudeau. Pierre was his father. The Canadian PMO mirrors the Department of Prime Minister and Cabinet in Canberra, which is run by high-powered bureaucrats and advised on COVID-19 by the Prime Minister's National COVID-19 Advisory Commission, which Scott Morrison, the cuddly Scott, announced on March the 25th, just 2 months into the pandemic. So you can see that it's very similarly structured in the UK and also in Ireland, with our NEFIT organisation dictating play into the government with a charade of objections just to keep us happy or thinking that there is some degree of debate. Okay, we might ask why it was necessary for the PM to announce such a high-powered commission so early in the piece. Clearly, it was part of the process as outlined by the Event 201 players, we remember that, who included Commission member Jane Halton, head of the Gates-funded CEPI, to steer the plandemic in their desired direction, i.e. the globalist Great Reset plan as outlined by the World Economic Forum. And that is well in the public domain now and impossible for those who brand us as conspiracy theorists to even deny. Boris Johnson is banging on about it too. The Green Left Guardian reported back in August the 11th that Neville Power, the head of the commission, had been approached by business leaders wanting the government to use the recovery from the pandemic to lock in low emissions energy. According to Power, his organisation was not recommending a green recovery per se, but had asked the government to underwrite new investment in gas pipelines as part of recommendations from a manufacturing task force. But as previously reported by Cairns News, this commission had been strangely silent on Dan Andrews' wrecking of the Victorian small business sector. The whistleblower said he is not happy doing this, but I have to, as a Canadian, and more importantly, as a parent, as many of us are, who wants a better future, not only for my children, but for other children as well. The other reason I am doing this, i.e. whistleblowing, is because roughly 30% of the committee members are not pleased with the direction this will take Canada, but our opinions have been ignored and they plan on moving forward towards their goals. They have also made it clear that nothing will stop the planned outcomes. The roadmap and aim was set out by the PMO and is as follows, and this is the thing to take note of. Phase in secondary lockdown restrictions on a rolling basis. Check. Starting with major metropolitan areas first and expanding outward. Expected by November 2020. We're on schedule. Rush the acquisition of or construction of Isolation facilities across every province and territory, expected by December 2020. City West is the only one in this country of which I am aware. Others of you in Rowan may know different. Daily new cases of COVID-19 will surge beyond the capacity of testing, including increases in COVID-related deaths following the same growth curves, expected by the end of November 2020. Complete and total secondary lockdown, much stricter than the first, and second rolling phase restrictions, expected by the end of December 2020, early January 2021. Reform and expansion of the unemployment program to be transitioned into the Universal Basic Income program, expected by Q1 2021. Projected COVID-19 mutation and/or co-infection with secondary virus, referred to as COVID-21, leading to a third wave with much higher mortality rate and higher rate of infection, expected by February 2021. Daily new cases of COVID-21 hospitalizations and COVID-19 and COVID-21 related deaths will exceed medical care facilities capacity, expected Q1 to Q2 2021. Enhanced lockdown restrictions, referred to as third lockdown, will be implemented. Full travel restrictions will be imposed, including inter-province and intercity, expected Q2 2021. Transitioning of individuals into the Universal Basic Income program, expected mid-Q2 2021. Projected supply chain breakdowns, inventory shortages, large economic instability, expected Q2 2021. Deployment of military personnel into major metropolitan areas as well as all major roadways to establish checkpoints, restrict travel and movement, provide logistical support to the area, expected by Q3 2021. The whistleblower said committee members asked who would become the owner of the forfeited property and assets in that scenario that they would take from people, and what would happen to lenders or financial institutions. We were simply told that the World Debt Reset Program will handle all the details. Several committee members also questioned what would happen to individuals if they refused to participate in the World Debt Reset Program, or the health pass, or the vaccination schedule, and the answer we got was very troubling. Essentially, we were told it is our duty to make sure we come up with a plan to ensure that would never happen. We were told it was in the individual's best interest to participate. When several committee members pushed relentlessly to get an answer, we were told that those who refused would first live under lockdown restrictions indefinitely, and that over a short period of time, as more Canadians transitioned into the debt forgiveness program, the ones who refused to participate would be deemed a public safety risk and would be relocated onto isolation facilities. Once in those facilities, they would be given two options: participate in the debt forgiveness program and be released, or stay indefinitely in the isolation facility under the classification of a serious public health risk and have all their assets seized. The whistleblower said the heated discussion escalated beyond anything I have ever witnessed before. In the end, it was implied by the PMO that the whole agenda will move forward no matter who agrees with it or not, and it won't just be Canada, but in fact, all nations will have similar roadmaps and agendas, that we need to take advantage of the situations before us to promote change on a grander scale for the betterment of everyone. The members who were opposed and ones who brought up key issues that would arise from such a thing were completely ignored. Our opinions and concerns were ignored. We were simply told to just do it. All I know is that I don't like it, and I think it's going to place Canadians into a dark future. I'm sorry, I'm very sorry for having to read this or feeling I should read this, but I hope you appreciate that we must share this information, and you go forward and fact check and you know, verify it, consider it. Rowan. Rowan, you there?
Sorry,
Guys,
Fiona, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah.
My apologies for that. Let me see if I can drop that one down there. Oh, I know we're lagging it, and we're all over the place at the moment. Hopefully that's a little bit better there. I'll get rid of this second stream here. My apologies, Fiona. It is quite disconcerting news. I agree. It is coming from not really. Well, maybe it is a major mainstream publication. It's we've seen the video of the Canadian politician speaking about the isolation wards that are being set up throughout Canada. So it does come with validity. It does come with some previous, as I say. There is a video link out there. I'll probably attach it to the description box afterwards. I'll have to go dig it out. I'm sure the vast majority of you are very well aware of it. But if a standing politician, he was kind of using the rhetoric of kidding and a little bit of humor in it, but he was being sarcastic and saying, why is the government introducing these bills that will detain people, which we can see over in the United Kingdom. Now we've already got the Human Resources Intelligence Bill that I spoke about this morning as well, Fiona. In essence, and to break it down, it's going to give carte blanche to the United Kingdom government to break the law. Now, that's not how they frame it in the legislation. It says to, if you've got any young'uns in the room, now would be the time to set them aside. Just as a warning, and I'm going to say it now, the UK government has now been sanctioned to rape, murder, and torture in the course of breaking the law. Now, the person that I first drew my attention to the legislation, and I still have getting through it myself. It gives it to various institutions of the government. And included in that as well is the marketing. I don't know why they would have it. Marketing institution of the government. Also, the Food Standards Agency has this capability in its power. Now, if you're saying mass starvation, huge resource loss, as we have spoken about numerous times here, which we've been derided for, mocked, long before even the lockdown came in, Fiona, we thought we were speaking about the creeping. Yeah, everybody said, the creeping socialism. But now that the mask has been removed, now that I only seen Dave's title of his latest video. He was doing a Gran Torino-esque broadcast from inside his car. I don't know where he got that idea from, but fair play to you. It looked really good.
But we all do the car thing. Yes.
Why I'm introducing humor to it, as much as it is, and it is very troubling news. I want you to steel yourself. I want you to embolden yourself. We are living in extraordinary times. And I constantly remind you, the future is not written. The future is in our hands. And we still, even on this tiny island, have a chance to separate ourselves from the system as much as possible. And I believe that the growing awareness, the growing consciousness, when the freedoms are moved. Now, you say the UBI system will be rolled out in Canada. It's being trialed here as well. They've been muting it and they've been speaking out about it. And a great swath. I've come across various different people, and in my conversations, you know how I like to just have the bit of crackers kill, just to engage with people, so that I kind of get a sense of what's going on, Fiona.
Yeah.
And I came across one or two men, shall we say, that were quite happy with the situation to be getting not furloughed, but getting the extraordinary COVID-19 payments. They were actually on more money than they had previous. They were quite happy to sit at home now and drink the beer that the government was facilitating and enabling them to buy. So there will be a portion of the population that will be attracted to the idea of the UBI, as it's let out as a bit of bait, according to the article, to tempt those in. As we're finding, as I'm seeing, and as I'm sure everybody else is aware, the longer that this goes on, the more it becomes, I hate to say the phrase, natural, before it becomes ingrained into people. They're wearing the mask outside beyond the shop. As soon as they walk out the shop door, the mask is becoming a part of the dress attire. And you'll walk in the middle of the day. Literally didn't, as I say, I seen a picture today sent to me of a woman swimming in the sea with her hat on, a straw hat on, a pair of glasses, and guess what? She also had the mask. Up to here in water, swimming in the ocean with a mask on. Now, Fiona, brace yourself, and remember what I said, steel yourself.
Oh, yeah.
This is the time now to make consideration for your plans, for your preparations, everything that's been spoken about, your lines of communication, trusted people around you that are on board, that understand, that you can renege on. The time for awakening the masses is long past. And I'm going to say this phrase that's vaunted very much on the channels, and is very much vaunted in the ethos of nationalists throughout Europe. You get what you deserve. And by that, I mean those that are going to walk into their own destruction and commit, if it is allowed, mass genocide and the genocide of people. We cannot. We have to start making plans for our own situations and to kind of combine those and become an effective force. If that means that we have to take over a county of Ireland and secede from the Republic and defend it at all costs, that's not without the realms of possibility. It could be for future generations. But
Well,
let us...
we could create a parallel society, couldn't we? I mean, I'd be happy with that personally. I'd be happy with getting back to the land, you know, living together in a sort of community and surviving, bartering, and you know, starting back to basics. Because, Rowan, there's one thing I've been starting to think over the past few weeks, and it's not that I'm aligning with what's going on, far from it, but I'm just saying, I'm thinking to myself that the life we're living, in any case, is hollow, it's shallow in many respects. It's consumerist, it's godless, it's, you know, it was meant for destruction. And it may be, I mean, you know, maybe I'm trying desperately to pick some positives out here, but in many respects, maybe the demise of this society of itself is a positive thing, not necessarily what we're moving into. Now, obviously, I cannot align with this, but that we shouldn't be so scared to see our old society crumble. And let me give you my mask story. And I've reflected upon it, and I'm trying to get wisdom. I'm trying to be calm and considered about these things. I was in a shop yesterday with in Zara, and I was unmasked. And this particular lady, let's call her Karen, got really upset at the sight of me, really, really upset. And she went over and called the manager. And the manager came out and came over to, you know, I spoke to them, and I explained to the manager that I had a reasonable excuse under the statutory instrument, and the manager accepted that. Now, we went back and forward a couple of times. She said, it's our policy to have a mask. And I said, well, I have a reasonable excuse. And I said, you know, obviously, are you asking me to leave? In which case you are violating my rights under the Equal Status Act. And she said, no, I'm not. I said, well, thank you for appreciating. So that was fine. The management in Zara were absolutely fine. I have no truck. I have no issue with them. But Karen was so annoyed and upset. So I went over to Karen and I said, I have a disability. Is this what you represent? Are you trying to stigmatize and discriminate against those of us with disabilities? And she just turned on her heel and flounced out. Now, I was obviously upset, but on reflection, Rowan, I feel more sorry for Karen and her ilk, because she's as upset, as stressed out, as gnarled up as anybody else. And that kind of existence is not one worth living either, Rowan. Her life is a misery because of what she's trying to do and the worry that she obviously has about this virus. So, you know, I did, on reflection, feel sorry for her. But nevertheless, to talk, you know, if you want to equate those of us who cannot comply, will not comply with the masking, we will be the ones who will be considered a public health risk down the line. But to get back to my original point, we've got to try and sort of scramble some of the positives from the rubble of what's going on now, don't we, Rowan?
Not only metaphorically and not only physically. One of the live chat, Lorraine, I believe it was, I put the question of how can we prepare if we are in lockdown? Well, we still have a moment of time. There's no better time like the present to make whatever arrangements. Obviously, we've spoken about getting your long-term food preservatives and stuff like that. Be planting seeds, although the season is over now. Get prepared and build up your stock so that you can at least bring yourself towards the springtime or the seeding time, which I believe is March, April. I could be wrong, but like I said, that's part of your preparation. Depending on how far you trust your own family, start engaging with them and start putting it into physical being. Start making a note of what you think you need to do. Start actioning it rather than dwell on it. And I mean this, and I'm trying to just proffer this by way of focus and attention. Give yourself something to focus on. Prepare for spring, as Keith says to us, springtime. So now is your time. You've got 4 months in essence to prepare for the plantation. You've got to carry yourself through the growth season, through that as well. So there you go. Your strategy is being laid out. Whether you choose to accept that or not, that's what I would be doing as a family person, somebody that's stuck in the city. I'm pretty mobile. I've been at this now for Cuba, so this doesn't pertain to me. But as a family man, I understand the situation. You feel like you are anchored because you are tied to a mortgage. You are all tied into the society that it has to function. But it will play out, not necessarily as they expect it to play out, nor will it expect for us the way we expect it to play out, because we have no understanding of it. It's all in God's hands is what I'm saying to you. But while we're doing it, let's live each and every day with purpose.
Because do you know what, Rowan, actually now, because I'm thinking on the fly, and I'm very sorry, I'm not a good orator. I'm not great off script, so I do apologize if I'm clumsy with this. But this actually gives us more time than I had originally anticipated. If this is true, if this is to be considered in any way credible, we have a bit more time. We have time, we have each other, we have our faith, and we have to be strong. It's almost like, you know what, nothing else matters. I mean, you may sit and worry about your child's exams or, things that would have upset you or stressed you out on a day-to-day basis pretty much no longer matter. What matters is your health and your well-being. And for me, as a Catholic, or, I know a lot of you are people of faith, your faith, because that will mentally strengthen you, because that's what we need. That's what I need. And also physically strengthen you. So you know what you have to do. We have their plan or their wish list. But as Rowan quite rightly said, that does not mean that it's going to actually pan out exactly the way they want it. But you know what? We are at the most important time, I believe, in human history, short of maybe the Tower of Babel, when God scattered the nations, or short of the flood. This, to me, is it. We're at the precipice and we are alive at this time. And it is absolutely incredible. And you know what? As Dave Cullen even said to me, if this is it for us, if we are meant to pass, and if we, this is the next 5 years are all we have, well, so be it. Let's face it. Let's be strong. Let's be courageous. Remember, cowards die many times, but the valiant taste of death but once. Let's be strong for each other. Let's help our friends and our families, because they will come to us when the chips are down. And let's just pray. Let's pray for that miracle, because you never know. We may just get it, Rowan. If enough of us get down on our knees, we may get that miracle.
Absolutely, Fiona. No harm in a little bit of thought, but physical action, God helps those that help themselves.
Yes.
So as I say, prepare. Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. So whatever you think it was within reason, whatever you think you have to do. But I beseech you not to panic. Panic is fear, and fear is the weakness of the mind. And you steel yourself. You can have your emotion, but be strong and be strong, and obviously be strong and together for your children and your family, young kids, and all that kind of stuff. They're growing up in a completely different time, and they will probably never experience anything like the childhoods that we have, because, as Fiona said, we are so very much in unprecedented times. But those of us that agree, you're in a thought bubble. We're not in a bubble. We're ahead of the game. We're on the peak of the crest of the wave, and we have a better chance to overcome when the wave comes crashing down. Not all of us will survive, and to reconcile with that. But as I said to Fiona, as we spoke earlier on, take joy and comfort in that you will be reunited with those that have long gone, and those that have loved, and you will be there, and you'll get the heaven that you wish for. But while you are here in every essence and in every sense of the being, fill your life with purpose, fill your life with the drive to change the outcome, and we have to resist. By not wearing the mask is a sign of resistance, and is your duty to do so.
Yeah.
However you feel comfortable and whatever appropriate time you feel to do it, but do not be suckled into half wearing it, quarter, and then not wearing it in times, because you will acclimatize to that as well. But we have to box clever. We have to use what is ever at our disposal. So I trust you to use your own initiative on what you need to do. But your long-term plan should be to strategize for getting through to the winter months. If you work on the timeline that Fiona said in the article, the huge mass culling is supposed to finish at 2025. We've seen the World Bank, we've seen the World Bank's projections for the project to end at 2025. I read out those statistics in a previous article a day or two ago. I want to turn our attention as well now, Fiona, and just to break away a little bit from this subject and to set our minds aside and put ourselves at a little bit of ease of something that we can focus on now, is that we must share Ivor Cummins's. It's I'll leave the link to it again. I really did want to play it tonight as part of our conversation, but I'm very touchy. I'm very touchy with the YouTube, and I have to be very careful with the copyright. Why we've got this little link to the YouTubers, and we try and push all our family towards the Twitch, towards the D Live and the Periscope. I believe Periscope, Facebook will go, Twitch will go eventually, D Live possibly, but I do believe the long-standing, long runner will be Telegram. We're all on Telegram. We all communicate there, and that seems to be pretty solid. Again, nothing is private at all. Nothing is private at all. That you have to take to understand. But Ivor's breakdown of the statistics of not only the PCR tests, Fiona, in comparison with Sweden, but when he did the chart, he was criticizing RTE's discussion on the news article, where one of the NEFIT experts was being questioned by, and I'm going to slate him because this to me now, the state of journalism, as Ivor Cummins so rightly called it, and when he compares it to the statistical analysis and the breakdown, this gentleman from NEFIT said that there could be up to, he made the analogy that there will be fridges and coffins and mass graves.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then Ivor contrasted that to the statistics of the death rate in the first outbreak of the COVID-19. 2019 already had previous morbidity and were practically at death's door, but went down as the now infamous COVID-19. Their pictures were spread far and wide across mainstream newspapers, as they fell. As we became to understand, they were the nursing home, the poor people that were at their last stages of life, but it was contrived to be pushed out as a COVID death. But then Ivor says when it breaks off, and he so rightly pointed out, and many others have said as well, that we let the first chance to really push back by allowing them to change the narrative from deaths to cases.
Yeah.
And then we lost the run of ourselves. Now we are getting fear and panic motivated on cases, and they're now steering the direction of the conversation towards infection rate. Infection. We are all infected. We all have the COVID in us. The PCR will detect even one molecule of COVID. We are, as I keep saying to you, walking bags of our own biological ethos, or we were just saying about that ecology, our own ecology, that not only mixes with the air, the carbon that we breathe, it passes through us as it sweeps around the world, as any virus does in 3 weeks. That's at the time it takes for the coronavirus, and we have to be careful with those words, to transport themselves around the globe. 3 weeks. So we've all been infected. We all have it. What the globalists seem to be doing, and the plan is that they're using the PCR, even though it's scrutinized, to say that anything above 25 cycles is sheer nonsense, and any chemist or any practitioner in the field will tell you that anything past 25 is a nonsense, because effectively you're going further and further down into the molecular stage, and you're blowing it right up, and anything that is ever known is there. So they are able to report it then as a case, as an infection rate. Now we have to smash the narrative of the PCR. Professor Cahill says it so eloquently. You've spoken on it. Ivor says it as well. We have to pull apart in people's minds that the PCR test is like a set of binoculars, or it's like a microscope, in other essence, and it's not a diagnostic tool, even though the government is using that. Now, maybe the Doctors for Truth in the UK will have some victory, but I think, having looked at Simon Dolan's case completely collapse and be completely ineffectual, as John and Gemma's prosecution of their justification of their case fell apart as well. And again, they got stung with costs on top of that as well. I know Simon Dolan is a millionaire and can well able to handle it, but I'm sure John and Gemma could use all our support if they have that, to bring that case up towards us. Michael O'Leary brought a case up, but he was willing to enforce the guidelines on a plane. And I'm delighted that he lost his case, but he's not going to feel it, and they will drive on. He's now probably going to focus himself to join the club of the 500 million, the projected. He's probably already got that, that ticket. You remember that film that was out some time ago? I think it was with, in essence, the limousine driver, John Cusack, had to drive. It was like a earthquake or the Noah's Ark type thing, where there was only 3 ships when the great flood of the earth came around. They already knew. They bought their tickets in advance, and they got the pre-warning when it was time to board the boat. Everything is persuasion. It's all being, it's like to program us to expect, but it's also messaging to those that want to understand it, as in the billionaire class. You can buy your way out of this and elevate yourself up to the new smart cities where we will have, 400 million slaves at our beck and call. Button pushes.
Yeah, but listen, Rowan, you know what? I honestly believe there are many, 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 many of the elites not happy about this. The 1% of the 1% of the 1% aren't that many versus the rest of the world population. And I've had many conversations with people about the CEOs, business people, merchant classes in various countries around the world who are not on board with this and do not want to see their businesses and their empires collapse into rubble, because it's only if you go onto the World Economic Forum and you look at the strategic partnerships that are in place going forward, you will see the likely winners, or should I say the likely corporations who are going to survive through this. So to get back to your point, Rowan, and not to sort of wibble on too much, I think we will have more resistance than we actually see at the moment. When it really starts to bite, you will see business people, because I was going through the central bank report and I was also going through the Business Plus edition for this month. And again, it was brought home to me a key reason for the compliance in Ireland, Karen's notwithstanding, is that so far a lot of people have been paid to sit at home. It is still the case. Okay, yes, the unemployment is starting to creep up, but that's affecting the hospitality sector most. And as I said before on this stream, the lower income groups. So those middle to higher income earners are still benefiting from some sort of wage support, which will obviously be withdrawn on the timeframes that has been set out here, starting into sort of March, April 2021. And then you're going to start to see the unemployment rise. I know banks are planning to let go people Christmas time into January, which is when they always do that. So if you're frustrated and you're wondering what on earth is going on in Ireland, why are more people not waking up to this? They've been bribed. Essentially, Rowan, a lot of them have been bribed to sit at home. And, in all fairness to them, it's not everybody who sits and thinks longer term. They don't believe any of this that we're saying. They don't believe in the Great Reset or the World Economic Forum, if they even knew about it anyway. So they can't see the longer term implications of lockdowns on the economy or on their lives or on society. So they're very, very blinkered and myopic. And I'm not having a go at them. I'm just trying to explain and rationale even to myself.
I was thinking the exact same as well, Fiona. Today, people just bog down on the day-to-day with their family, with the mortgage, trying to get the bill paid. It's as you say, it's focused and like telescopic on your main priorities, and everything else is superfluous. We pay attention to our peripheral vision, and the scope is a little bit up. But as you say, Fiona, long-term planning and long-term thinking and strategy, that was the point of what we're doing here, to try and lay it out. And again, we've reasoned ourselves back into hope there as well. You just said it there as well. There will be a strong cohort of those that are not on board with all of that up there.
Oh yes, I really believe this globally. at the sort of what we would consider to be elites. This isn't over by any stretch of the imagination. They're not just going to roll over and decide, oh, I don't want to have my cinema empire anymore, or I don't want to have my shopping mall empire anymore, or you're not going to take away my right to travel everywhere I want to. No. This thing is going to erupt when people start to fully realize the implications of this. And I'm talking about the real sort of the entrepreneur class, the business class, senior execs, even CEOs most of them are not on board with this at all in any way, shape, or form. They're not all Bilderbergers, Oh, I can't hear you, Rowan.
This pesky mute button. I do that so that the echo doesn't feed back into the stream. My apologies, live chat. Let me just rewind it there a bit. I was just saying there, a lovely little message then from Colleen to say it just made her day, to be able to catch up with us again. And we will try and provide the light and try and keep the going on the platforms. But it is upon you to get up off your arse and break away from YouTube. Set yourself up a Discord account. I will probably have it ready to go by Monday. You'll be able to phone in from your mobile phone. You'll be able to listen in audio through the Discord. I am working on it there now as well. So as a line of communication, when the Boohoo Tube is restricted from us, we will still have these other 4 platforms. So please play along with it. Jump over into Facebook every now and again. Get used to using the different colors. It's just a matter of repetition. Don't become lazy in your thinking by keeping jumping because YouTube is just there. I know great many of you aren't. I'm speaking to the third person or those that are new to all of this and just joining us in the conversation. Snap that chain, those manacles of repetition, and try something different. It will expand your mind and it will help. So Fiona, I think from that point of view, I think just coming up on the 50-minute mark, I think it's a perfect time to sign off. I'm very delighted.
I had a few things, Rowan, but you know what? Nothing is more important than I think this wider strategic piece of information. And we we're going into lockdown, guys. We know that. We're ready for it. We're teed up, but there are rumblings in the jungle now. The businesses some of them are starting to push back. So
I just seen that there. I think it was on the Mirror here in the Republic of Ireland that Tony Holohan said that there won't be a lockdown, even if there is a second wave. Now, I want to remind you, when I keep speaking about linear warfare, they're going to do the exact opposite of what they're telling us. So they're assuring you, and people will break that and say, "Oh, there'll be no lockdown, even if the second wave." Tony does it. Tony recommends it, and they're all listening to Tony. But then if the politicians take it over because it's so politicized, but it falls perfectly in line if you agree, if you understand the concept of linear warfare. You mirror. You're going to do exactly the opposite of what you're telling your opposition, which is us, the citizenry. Our government is at war with its people.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always think of them as a cast of characters from the Hunger Games. Remember in the Capitol, Rowan? It's just a shirt show, should I say? I was going to say the word.
Oh, Lady Penelope's being crushed down here with the Northsiders. That's what it is.
It's a shit show, guys. Don't believe a word of it. It's a parade. That's 3 Hail Marys from me, at least.
Would you do another 3 just for saying guys as well? I'll get down and say them for you as well. You guys. Okay.
Guys.
You guys, as I say, I had a very important set-off point. But look, 50 minutes, Fiona. Very delighted that you came back for us.
Thank you, and it's lovely to see this little setup. Rowan, there's no killing a bad thing. I think you'll go from strength to strength, and I'd be delighted to come back on again if you'll have me.
Of course I will. Of course I will. I'm going to try and keep this the StreamYards, but I am setting us up to get over to the OBS because I believe the StreamYard facility will also be removed. But the OBS, which is a producing broadcasting platform, it helps you. Basically it's the stripped down version of this, but it's more advanced, and I'm figuring it out. We'll be able to have something similar, but there won't be the ticker tape. But we'll have communications from different sources, which will be fantastic. We'll have the Discord, which I used when we were working over in the United States, and it's a very important communication tool as well. It is also starting to get heavily censored. So for the immediacy, use Discord, but get yourself set up on Telegram. That's where we'll be long-term, Telegram. Fiona, thanks very much for joining us. I'll see you again next
Rowan,
week.
and everyone stay safe and pray. Just keep each other safe. That's all. It'll be fine. We'll work through it. God bless, Rowan. Take care.
God bless. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a care in my heart. Blah, 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 blah. As I say to you, a little bit of humor, a little bit of thing. Take the sting out of it. Steel yourself. Get ready. Brace yourself, Maureen. I say brace yourself. But as I say, the future's not written. Can't give you any more words of encouragement. I will see you Monday morning, bright and early. And those that are late for the usual, you now have your 4 choices to attend. But if you are late, don't forget, 20 press-ups is the penalty for late attendance. I will be streaming at 0900 hours of the Monday. And I will be joined by Dr. Bruce Scott Monday evening. Please do tune in and join us. Bruce has been doing great stuff over in Scotland. And we'll have a look at what the little Hitler's doing over there with the SNP. Sturges. Thanks for everybody joining us over Facebook and all the other platforms. Great to see you. God bless to Colleen. Great to see you, Ian. Thank you very much. Fran also saying there, ping our RL over on Twitch. We love to see it. So everybody tuning in from all the various platforms, you now have a veritable deli of platforms to choose and join us here in the Grand Torino. Ladies and gents, before I let you go, please don't forget, smash that like button if you haven't done so already. If you're new to the show, please leave your thoughts, comments, and witticisms in the comments section down below. We do love to read through them. And if you could, please consider sharing this on your own platforms and help push us out and push us into the algorithms on YouTube to bring us in. And very important that you smash that like button as well, because that also goes with the algorithms. We are demonetized, as I keep saying, and I have borrowed this phrase. We are demonetized, but we are not demoralized. Now more so than ever, I could use your support, but those of you that are doing your level best, appreciate much and everything that you're doing and your continued support. Those of you that want to make your way over to the Gran Torino World Wide Web, grandtorino.ie. Why not stick some gas in the tank for the Gran Torino? And hopefully we'll be able to, do a little bit of stutching and dodging during the lockdown. Say nothing. Some aerial shots. We'll sort of try and bring you some outside views. Head over to my Instagram thing. It was out and about earlier on today. Have some pretty amazing, and I have to say so myself, some lovely shots. Please help to spread the show by smashing the like button as well. Those of you over on Twitch. And also, lastly but not least, thank you for joining us. And please, you can use our P.O. Box 131179. Send us your correspondence. We do love to read through them there. Okay, let's see you again Monday morning. Have a great, blessed weekend. Try not to fret too much. Try and get about your day and get about it, basically, is what I'm saying. Wuss.